Ganyu, the submarine guardian. Enough primos for a single pull. Ganyu, this is the last of my primos. I can't believe he didn't cry during Titanic. Do men even have feelings? Ganyu banner about to end, and no resources left to pull. Genshin Impact players, after MiHoYo adds Primogem rewards, by taking pictures. Me, walks, Dendro Slime, and I took that personally. Epic battle music starts playing. You can't see me, I know, but he can. English Barber before show release. English Barber after show release. Me at AR-47, climbing the cathedral because I'm bored as luxurious chest.
Bonjour.
Me, wanting the maintenance break to be long to get primos. Wanting the maintenance break to be short so I can play again. Finally, a gold artifact, healing bonus main. We've got 29 playable characters so far in Mundstat and Liu. That's an average of 15 per nation. There are still 5 more nations, so there will be 100 plus playable characters. You'll probably forget about all the characters you have right now by then. If you want a chance to be featured in the next video, leave a funny comment using #GIM. Subscribe for more memes, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. MiHoYo, our upcoming 5 stars rather underhyped. What should we do? Discounted Primo Gems. Pre-release buffs. Just put Bennett on the banner. MiHoYo. Employee of the Month. Barber version 1.2. Barber version 1.3. They always say, where's Barbara? But never ask, how's Barbara? Everyone to the god picking a level 40 shell instead of the healer for co-op domains. Okay, get in. Her, he's thinking about other girls. Him, a Hydro Claymore. Seventh shell please. Me after joining a co-op world. Hi, do you need help with anything? That one player that doesn't speak English. My team when I first tried a level 90 artifact domain at AR-45. Pablo, why aren't we alive? Facility voice. Warning, demonic presence threat level 5 entering main laboratory. Food and Genshin Impact. The following item restores 5% of maximum HP, plus 300 HP for every 5 seconds until 30 seconds have passed. Me, being bad at math. Me.
Fancy a game?
The people we rely on every day are fueled by Circle K.
Almost decides to buy a pack to get show. MiHoYo gives me show. Me. No, this is not how you're supposed to play the game. Man, I love the new 1.3 Geo buffs. The shields are so much better. The albedo elevator glitch doesn't work anymore. Did you get Only's new buffs? Yes. What did it cost you? Barbara's original voice. I've only had Dane for 20 minutes. But if anything happened to him, I would kill everyone in this room, and then myself. Wow, big and luscious. It's perfect, thanks, you guys. Eyes are up here by the way. Me, not understanding how the camera event works, trying to take a pic of a red umbrella for 5 minutes. Barbara's gameplay voice lines before 1.3. Barbara's gameplay voice lines after 1.3. Please miHoYo, I just want to dance with them. Genshin Impact, Update 1.3, Potato Phone Users, Audios. Barbara's ult, heals party members, Dalek's ult, summons a phoenix, Xiao's ult, suicide is badass. Genshin Impact characters. We hate Hotel, the fandom. We love Hotel, and that's a fact. Barbara's voice after Rosaria talked to her at Dragon Spine, and I took that personally. Doekeeper, Dance Leaf. It's beautiful. I've looked at this for 5 hours now. Reward for reaching friendship 10 with Hotel. My satisfaction is immeasurable, and my day is saved. You can't defeat me, I know, but she can. If I had a nickel for every time I've been attracted to a character named Lisa, I'd have 2 nickels, which is not a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. miHoYo, no Almains, you can't have this back achievement. Can you give me money for 10 free Interwin Fates? 10 free Interwin Fates to use on the Xiao banner? Yes, actually waits and uses those fates on Hotel's banner like a boss. When you get non-rated 5-star character instead of Xiao and Pity, Ephemeral Circumstance, Perpetual Agony. $385 almond tofu, 1 Xiao please.
Subscribe and like the video right now.
Barbara before 1.3, we can do it! Barbara after 1.3, yeah, whatever. Come, play Genshin version 1.3. We have an Emo with an Emo, Keeking, and her troll banner. Hotel, she was never real. Can't wait for Xiao to come home. I saved up a lot of wishes. What if you get a different 5-star? Everyone, even Xiao Simp, getting moaned at Xiao banner. Me, who got moaned at Ganyu. When you get Xiao, and notice it, you need both an Emo and new Geo material for Ascension, and they both cost 40 res in a fight. 1 Claymore or Book prototype. 5 sword prototypes in row. Xiao's kit in a nutshell. Elemental skill, parkour. Elemental burst. Tall, blonde, gorgeous. Tall and gorgeous. Blonde and gorgeous. Thanks for letting me join your team. Now fetch me 165 chinksins. Yes, dear. 30 days later, where's my flowers, bro? The Stellar Moments OST, beautiful music, I-Chan likes, miHoYo, miHoYo. Tall vampire lady, what's with all these degenerates? Rosaria, Lisa, Senora, first time? A very short, bad synopsis of Genshin's Liu arc. An interdimensional alien helps the Chinese government foil a Russian plot to destroy their capital city. Welcome to Tea-That Bakery. We have Cookia, Tortilla, Houtard, Medunut, Barbaro, Ganyu, Chong East, Alberto, Doekeeper Dane's Loaf. every character in Dragon Spine. Shao and Dragon Spine. When it's nose thick enough, we can eat it. Payment. The cooler payment. How to obtain Shao. Shao only appears when grave danger is nigh. Sell your car, cancel your health insurance, and take out a mortgage on your house. Your existence is in grave danger now. Get Shao. Chilled. Literally mastering every type of weapon except bow. Chilled with catalyst. My total playtime, my artifacts, my skill. I wish everyone who introduced payment in Dane's Leave as emergency food a very pleasant evening. If you want a chance to be featured in the next video, leave a funny comment using #GIM. Subscribe for more memes, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.
Cheesy.
Shao's gameplay in a nutshell.
These are matters for a dip dive. Stay out.
Day has finally come.
That old Timmy. Mean but no 1080p. The entire English player base. Barbara's voice actor just doing her job. Welcome back to T-Vet Bakery. This time we have Scaramouche, Paimon, Barbatoast, Cookie, Delove, Baguette, Cheesecake, and Bagel, Zongo Claire, Cake Ching. Me before Genshin Impact. Why are people buying loot boxes? I really don't understand. They are wasting their money. Me now. Oh, my bank just sent me a message saying they closed my account due to suspicious activity. But it was just me buying virtual men. Meanwhile in MiHoYo's headquarters, behold, out upcoming characters, Ayaka, Hotel. But what about 4 stars? 4 stars? Barbara English voice, in 1.2. In 1.3. Zhongli gets buffed. Say the line, Zhongli hater. I wish I pulled for him when I had the chance. Zhongli fans.
074 N40 B12.
Dane's Leaf asks about Payman. Literally every player. My emergency food. Payman, what did you say to me, you little... Everything the light touches is our kingdom. What about that shadowy place over there? That is the land of the whales. You must never go there. Me, Mom, can I have? Mom, no, we have. At home, at home. Tomato is not red, carrot is red. Traveler helps any playable character. The playable character. Dinner? The ones hating Barbara's new voice but prefer the old one. The ones who hate both old and new voices. The ones using Japanese dub. You donkey. Delicious. Finally, some good food. When everyone leave your AoE ability. Gory. Oh, is that you, Traveler? I can recognize your voice. What is this? Oh, it's a dandelion seed. Lian, help me. I need 1 mushroom. So, who's actually blind? Everyone wants 1.3 update is out. Where ley lines event. Me after finishing Dane's Leave quest. It all makes sense now. Players is upset by the Barbara change. Mihoyo, we're sorry. Here have some primo gems. Players, your gems. Give the girl back her voice. Geo mains after the Zongli buffs and resonance update in 1.3. Wine industry prepare for trouble and make it double. And I forgot what comes next. Genshin Impact community about resin issues. Genshin Impact community about accounts getting hacked. Genshin community when Barbara's voice was changed so it fits more with her personality. Shao mains after using their bursting co-op. My time has come. Amy breaks character. Oz. Using Mundstat crafting table. Using Liu crafting table. Using Albedo's crafting table.
Subscribe and like the video right now.
Can we stop saying Hu Tao and start asking how Tao? Why the f are you so cute? Getting Xiao's ascension material from the new boss be like, you could not live with your failure. Where did that bring you? Back to me. Game requests be like, is this purple? Why would a fly land on something like this? Rats should be ashamed for falling in this trap. Bears, this is ridiculous. I fear no man, but that thing, Anemo slimes and immunity, it scares me. Zongli and Benny, they make Shao. Zongli and Ningguang, they make Ether. Zongli and Ember, they make Beidou. Zongli and Xiangling, they make Xinian. You're solving a math problem, and the answer is 160. Normal people. Genshin players. The Vizap is so hard, I had to dodge him so often. I hardly ever need to dodge. I'm just shooting him from a distance. You guys are dodging? Your POV. Their POV. Your music sadly. Benny, the fanboy bard. Mihoyo, take pictures of blue creatures. Me snapping sis and ice mages. This is for research purposes, I promise. People that didn't go inside the cave. I guess the ancient GOV sap isn't that strong after all. That's not the ancient GOV sap. What? Mihoyo, I think I forgot something. If you forgot, then it wasn't important. Yeah, you're right. Genshin beginner. Precious chests aren't even precious. I can't even find any more luxury chests. Genshin veterans. Hey dude, I just found a common chest. Really? Where you found it? Me photo shooting slimes. The dude who take blue creature photo from the oceanid. What is this? Tier lists. Team comps. Damage numbers. Do not look at this young one. Play whoever you want. However you want. Do not be a meta slave. Do you watch SpongeBob? Yeah, it's pretty funny. I'm too busy. Nah. Such childishness is beneath me. Who's that?
Who lives in a pineapple under the sea?
My friend's luck. My luck. Welcome to Tibet Restaurant. We have hamburger, bacon dal bacon, Kia toast, tortilla and olio, la senora, carbonara, diunicho, ning guacamole, fish and ketchups. If you want a chance to be featured in the next video, leave a funny comment using hashtag GIM. Subscribe for more memes, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.
Arasariguama, packed up a few days' worth of food and drink, and headed south to the nearest big city to celebrate the Festival of Carnival. This festival is an opportunity for folks to cut loose and eat good food right before most of them go into a religious fasting period. One resident who opted not to join the fun at this festival was a 44-year-old man named Joao Prestige Filho. Joao was a farmer, he had 5 kids, he was a very quiet guy, and he did not enjoy things like the Festival for Carnival. The crowds and the noise made him anxious, and he really hated dancing, which there was a lot of at these festivals. Instead, Joao would rather spend his spare time out in nature. And so, when Joao's friends and family and everybody else disappeared to head off to this festival, Joao did just that. He and his best friend packed up Joao's horse and cart, and they traveled across the dirt roads through the woods to the nearby Tietê River, where they spent the day fishing for catfish. And as Joao stood on the rocks casting out his line, he listened to the birds sing and the parrots swooping by. It was beautiful and sunny out. I mean, this was a perfect day for Joao. As sunset drew near, though, both Joao and his best friend knew that while the rainforest they were in was beautiful during the day, at night it could become quite hazardous with the animals that come out at night, and so they knew they needed to leave. And so they packed up all the fish they caught back into Joao's cart, and then the two of them hopped onto the cart and began making the journey back towards the town of Arasariguama. When the pair got to a split in the road, Joao's best friend hopped off the cart and walked on foot down one path because his house was actually just outside of the town, and Joao, still in his cart with his horse, said bye to his friend and went the other direction. Now, by this point, the sun had completely set, and so it was totally dark out as Joao is going down this dirt road in the final stretch towards his town. At this time, in 1946, Arasariguama was a beautiful place, but by no means a modern place. They had no running water, no electricity, there was no sewage, no paved roads, no access to main roads, and nobody had a telephone. It was basically like this little patch of civilization with about 100 people living there. There was a church in the middle of the town and a couple of small huts that kind of sat around it. And Joao and his family lived in one of those huts. Joao usually loved walking along or traveling along this particular stretch of dirt road, especially at night, like he was doing right now. He really enjoyed looking up at the stars and listening to the animals off in the forest that he couldn't see. But this night, Joao just had a bad feeling as he was making this final approach towards his town. Now remember, there's almost no one in the town. They're all at this festival, so it's kind of like a ghost town in the middle of a forest. But Joao, as he's going down this dirt road and he can see the church up ahead, he's a couple hundred feet away, he began getting this very unnerving sense that he was being watched. And so Joao, as he's in his cart, began looking into the trees and all around him, wondering if maybe an animal or a person was nearby, but there was no one. Finally, Joao actually reached the church, and he could see his little house, and he could also see that his wife, who was at the festival, had opened up one of the windows just slightly so he could open it up the rest of the way and crawl into the house when he was back from fishing, because she had locked the doors when she left. And so by this point, Joao was trying to be very calm and collected despite this stress of feeling like he's being watched. But when he saw that window and he saw how close he was to his house, he basically just had the horse sprint the rest of the way to his home. He just wanted to get off the streets. And so finally, Joao, he reaches his house, he crawls in through the window, he shuts it behind him, and immediately Joao expected to feel totally relieved that he was now behind locked and closed doors and windows. He was safe. But despite being inside of his home, he still had this sense that there was someone or something around him that was watching him. Joao, like many other residents of this village, was fairly superstitious. There was an old abandoned mine that was near the town, and Joao and his peers had grown up hearing stories about some monster that lived in the mine that would come out at night and roam the forest. And older people in this village would talk about this ancient serpent called Boitata that would come out at night, and it would appear in a burst of fire. And so Joao, he's thinking about the mine and these demons and ghosts that roam in the forest, and he's all alone because everyone's at this festival, and he doesn't feel safe inside of his house, and so he's really starting to panic. And it's at this moment that he suddenly feels this sense that whatever or whoever has been watching him is right out his window to his left. And so Joao, as he's turning to look out the window, he's anticipating seeing a person out there, or maybe a jaguar or some other animal that's followed him from the rainforest. But when Joao turns and looks out the window into the dark night, what he sees right outside of his property was so terrifying that for a second, Joao couldn't even breathe. And he just stood there staring at this thing, and then he tried to put his hands up to protect himself, but it was already too late. If you've made it this far into today's story, then I think it's safe to assume that you enjoy my style of storytelling, which boils down to true, strange, dark, and mysterious tales with a big plot twist or reveal at the end. And if I'm right in thinking that, then I have a surprise for you. In addition to the hundreds of stories you can listen to right here on this YouTube channel, you can also find over 100 other stories on our podcast, many of which are not on YouTube. They are exclusive to the podcast, currently. And as he screamed all this nonsense, minutes later, Joao would come stumbling out of his front door, out into the dark night. He's got a big blanket wrapped around him, and he was just screaming incoherently. And as he screamed all this nonsense, he began running in this kind of zigzag pattern with no clear destination in mind. It was just like this mindless running all through the village. And as he's running, he's got no shoes on, and he's stepping on sharp rocks and glass and trash. He's cutting his feet up horribly, but he doesn't seem to even notice. And so as he's doing this, he's causing this huge scene, but everybody's gone. It's a ghost town. It's just him in this abandoned village in the middle of a rainforest in Brazil. But eventually, Joao kind of calmed himself down and ran to his sister's house, Marie, because he noticed there was a lamp on inside of her house, and he was hoping that maybe she too had stayed back from the festival. And it would turn out Marie had not gone to the festival. She too did not really like big gatherings like that, and so she was home. And so Marie was in her kitchen when she began hearing outside this horrible screaming sound, almost guttural sounds coming from someone or some animal out there. And then before she could even figure out what it was, she heard this loud thud against her door. Marie was terrified, and she ran to her front window to look out and see what it was that had just collided with her door. And what she saw made no sense. It was her brother, Joao, but he was wrapped in that big blanket, and his feet were all bloody, and he was screaming at the top of his lungs, but he wasn't saying anything. He was just kind of babbling. And so Marie was about to run over and open the door for her brother. But right before she did, as she's looking out the window, Joao turned and looked at her, and when he did, she screamed because his eyes looked so alien. They were wide and totally unfocused, and she thought, that can't be my brother. What's wrong with him? But she would go over and open the door because, after all, it is her brother. And so she opens the door. Joao kind of falls into the room and began writhing around on the ground, continuing this scream he was emitting that didn't even seem human. And the whole time, Marie is trying to ask him, what's wrong? What's going on here? She's scanning him, and besides the cuts all over his feet, he didn't appear to have other injuries. And so eventually, Marie just knelt down, and she was about to grab Joao and try to kind of stop him from moving around, to just look at him and try to have a conversation with him. But before she grabbed him, Joao rolled over and his lips opened up, exposing his teeth, and he kind of grimaced at her with those wild, unfocused eyes. And again, Marie just kind of backed up in horror. Who is this? What's happened to my brother? And as Marie stood up to get away from Joao, Joao, still with that sickening grin with his teeth exposed, had this kind of low hiss come out of his mouth. And so Marie, thinking he he was trying to talk, she leaned in, and through this hiss, she heard him repeating, "It burns, it burns." And so Marie, thinking her brother must have been burned, instinctively began removing the blanket and pulling his clothes off to find the source of this burn on her brother. But besides the cuts all over his feet, as she's looking at his body, his skin looked totally normal. He looked completely unhurt. And so Marie turned up to look at Joao's face again to ask him more questions in hopes maybe he could tell her something. And it was at that moment she noticed that even though he didn't seem to have any other injuries, his complexion on his face was now starting to change. Now, Joao's cheeks had turned this kind of dark purple and almost looked like they were starting to swell. And so at this point, Marie knew, okay, I can't handle this. I don't know what's going on here. And so she would stand up and just kind of back away from Joao, who's still got that grimace with his teeth exposed and his purple cheeks. He's staring up at Marie. And Marie, she finally backs out and she goes out the front door and she begins running to the other side of town. Marie knew that there were two other men who had stayed home from this festival. It was the town sheriff and the town doctor, whose name was Arasi Gumiji. And those two men lived close together on the other side of town. And when Marie arrived in front of their homes and began pounding on their doors and yelling for help, the two men quickly came outside, at which point Marie tried to explain what was happening to her brother, but she didn't really have the words, and so she just said, "He needs your help." And so the two men just went with Marie, and they ran back across town to Marie's house, where Joao was still on the ground, writhing in pain when they went inside. Marie had only been gone for a couple of minutes, but by now it wasn't just Joao's cheeks that had turned that purplish color. His chest and arms were also turning purple. At this point, the sheriff leaned over Joao and began asking him some questions, and Joao, he was obviously in horrible pain from something, but by this point he had calmed down enough to where he was speaking a little bit more. But what he was saying made no sense. He told the sheriff that he had been followed home and then he got burned. And when the sheriff asked him, "Who burned you?" all Joao could say was, "No one is to blame." At this point, the sheriff left Marie's house and jogged over to Joao's house to look for some sign of how he got burned. But when he got there, the house was completely unburned. Everything was exactly as it should have been. There was no scorch marks. There was not even a lit candle anywhere. So there was no clues as to what happened to Joao. By the time the sheriff got back to Marie's, it had been about 45 minutes from when Joao first got hurt. And now, whatever was happening to his body that was turning him purple appeared to be getting much worse. Joao's skin all over his face and his chest and his arms was now not only a very dark purple, but his skin was starting to blister and pop. In fact, there was one area on his arm that had bubbled up so much that when it burst, you could actually see the bone in his arm. It was almost like Joao had been boiled in water, like the way you would boil meat on a bone until the meat was tender enough that it fell off the bone. It was like that was happening to Joao. And so as Joao's flesh just sort of began cooking off of him, the town doctor, Arasi, said, "We have to get him to a hospital right now." But because the roads were not paved and it was dangerous traveling at night, they knew they couldn't get him to the big city hospital. They would have to take him to a local hospital. And so the sheriff, who had a truck, said, "Let's just put him in the truck and I will drive him there." And so Arasi, the sheriff, and Marie, they got a new sheet, they wrapped up Joao inside of it, and they brought him outside, they put him in the sheriff's truck, and they began driving towards the hospital. Arasi stayed in the back with Joao as they made this drive, and every time the truck went over a bump, Joao would let out a cry of pain, and Arasi would look over and he would literally see these bumps were causing his skin to kind of fall off of his body. When they finally arrived at the local hospital, the staff there pulled Joao inside, they put him in a private room, they put him on a bed, and they had no idea how to treat him. It was like his injuries looked nothing like they had ever seen, they didn't even know where to begin, and they kind of assumed that Joao would not survive whatever was happening to him. And so the first thing they did is just pumped him full of painkillers. And while these painkillers didn't actually do anything to stop basically Joao's body from decomposing while he was still alive, they did at least allow Joao to stop feeling this horrible pain of his flesh falling off of him. And so Joao finally just kind of sunk back in his bed. and the sight of him must have just been horrific. He literally had huge chunks of his flesh just missing. I mean, literally parts of his skeleton were exposed to the naked eye. After the doctors had gotten Joao as stable as they could get him, Arasi, the local town doctor, sat down next to Joao and just began asking him questions. And for the first time, Joao was able to talk somewhat normally because he was on such a high dose of painkillers. And so Arasi began asking Joao to go over everything that happened from the time he left fishing for catfish until he arrived at his house and got burned. This is roughly what Joao told Arasi. He said on his walk home from fishing, he started getting that feeling that he was being watched, and it got more and more intense as he got into town, until finally he basically sprinted the rest of the way to his house, practically dove through that open window, shut it behind him, and expected to feel relief being in his own home again. But he didn't. The feeling only intensified that he was being watched. And at some point, he got that sense that whoever or whatever was watching him was to his left out the window out into his yard. And when Joao turned to look, what he saw standing outside was this dark figure kind of hovering over the ground, and it was staring right at Joao. And before Joao could even put his hands up to protect himself from whatever or whoever this was, this figure shot this bright ray of light directly into Joao's home through that window, which hit Joao in the chest and the face. And immediately Joao was blinded and confused by this light, and then it really started to burn. He believed he was on fire, which is why he grabbed that blanket and wrapped it around himself. He was trying to put out a non-existent fire, and that's when he stumbled outside and kind of zigged and zagged, kind of half trying to put this fire out until he arrived at Marie's house. But when he got there, that sensation of feeling like he was on fire didn't go away. It just got worse and worse and worse, and then his skin began falling off. When Arasi asked Joao, who do you think did this to you? Who do you think that figure was? And Joao, with bulging eyes, would sit forward and say to Arasi, "It wasn't of this world." And as Joao said this, a chunk from his cheek fell off, exposing his jaw and teeth. And as this happened, Joao asked one of the nurses for a water. And so Arasi is sitting there having heard the story as Joao, who's all hopped up on painkillers, is grabbing this water and drinking, and Arasi is watching the water dribble out of the hole now on the side of Joao's face. About 4 hours later, Joao would pass away from his injuries. There has never been any official explanation for what actually happened to Joao. The doctors just wrote cardiac arrest and generalized burns on his death certificate because they really had no idea what else to call this. Joao's family believed the Boitata, the ancient serpent that lived in the forest and appeared at night in a ball of fire, was responsible for what happened to Joao. Other people in town thought maybe it was the monsters or demons from the old abandoned mine that had come out and attacked Joao. Outside of Joao's town, people have theorized that Joao must have been subjected to some really high dose of radiation, and so this theory has led people to believe that, perhaps Joao was the victim of a secret weapon that the government was testing. But to create such a concentrated beam of radiation that only affects Joao would be way more technologically advanced than anything that was available at the time in the world. Not to mention, why would any government randomly target a Brazilian farmer with this weapon? But Joao would not be the only person in Brazil to die from mysterious rays of light. In the 1970s, so 30 years after Joao's death, several people in a city in northern Brazil reported seeing bright lights coming down from the sky, and then they too began turning purple and their skin began falling off and they would die. And so because of this high number of very strange deaths that looked just like Joao's, a new theory has taken root over the years to explain what happened to Joao and these people. And that is, they were attacked by a UFO. that Joel, when he looked out the window and saw that dark figure hovering over the ground, that was a UFO, and the light he saw was a weapon. The UFO was firing a ray of radiation that struck him and killed him, like it struck and killed the others in Brazil. The military actually looked into this theory in 1977 and 1978. It was called Operation Saucer, like flying saucer. However, officially, they came out and said they found no evidence that UFOs were in any way involved in what happened to Joao or these other people. However, many people are skeptical that we're really getting the truth. So that's going to do it. If you got something out of today's episode and you haven't done this already, please figure out which book the like button is reading currently, and when they're about halfway done with it, spoil the ending. Also, please subscribe to our channel and turn on all notifications so you don't miss any of our weekly uploads. We have a podcast called the Mr. Ballin Podcast that puts out brand new podcast exclusive stories on Monday mornings, and on Thursday mornings, we put up the remastered audio of our best YouTube videos. Again, the podcast is just called the Mr. Ballin Podcast, and it's available exclusively on Amazon Music. Consider donating to our charity. It's called the Mr. Ballin Foundation, and it provides support to victims of violent crime as well as their families. Monthly donors to the Mr. Ballin Foundation Honor Them Society will receive free gifts and exclusive invites to special live events. Go to MrBallin.Foundation and click on Get Involved to join the Honor Them Society today. We have 2 additional YouTube channels, Mr. Ballin Shorts and Mr. Ballin en Espanol. We also put out near daily content on TikTok, Facebook, and Snapchat. All of those channels are just called Mr. Ballin. If you want to get in touch with me, please follow me on any major social media platform and then send me a direct message. My username is @MrBallin, and I really do read the majority of my DMs. To check out our merch, join our Discord server, or just see what's going on inside of Ballin Studios, head on over to our brand new website, Ballin.
Yeah. Thanks. Yes. Thanks. I'll help. Thanks. Yes. Thanks. Yes. Thanks. Yes, thanks. I'll help. Thanks.
Well, well, if it ain't Instructor Schwarzer.
Your piece from combat tactics.
Seeing you work so hard's really inspirational, you know? Ash Carbide. I'm in Class A, Combat Tactics. Looked like you were really going out of your way to help all us students. You're just a stand-up guy, ain't you? Guess I should have expected that from you. After all, you are a national hero, Ashen Chevalier.
I'm just a new instructor who's fresh out of school himself. I've heard about you from Instructor Randolph. Sounds like you've got some pretty impressive skills. It's good to meet you, Ash. I'm sure I'll see you in some of my classes and during training exercises.
Yeah, sure thing. By the way, there's something I've always wanted to ask you. How's it feel, flying around in your big gray doll, being the government's lapdog?
Pardon me.
One of the girls from military finance.
Her again.
Hello, Ash from Class 8. Instructor Reen. You two seem to be having so much fun chatting, I couldn't help wanting to join in.
I was just about to leave. I'm looking forward to Panzer Soldat training next week. How about you?
What does he mean by that?
Oh dear. Did I interrupt something?
Oh, no, not at all. You're from military finance, right?
That's right. I'm Musa Egret from Class 9. Do you remember me? I'm in your 4th period history lessons.
Yeah, I remember. I've heard about you from Instructor Toa, too. We're not that far into the school year, but it's already clear you're an outstanding student.
You're making me blush. To tell the truth, I've heard rumors about you as well, Instructor. I've always thought it would make me so happy if I could get to know you better.
I see. Well, I'd recommend taking those rumors with a grain of salt.
Oh, I don't mean all that gossip about the Ashen Chevalier. The rumors I've heard are about the old Class 7, your sister, and even the princess.
What?
Well, I should be going now. Good day, Instructor Reen. I hope we have a lovely school year together.
Reen, can you hear me? Oh, it worked! The connection went through. Just a sec. Let me turn the video on. Long time no see, Reen. Well, I guess it's only been a month since we last talked. But it's been 4 whole months since I've seen your face. This was Prince Oliver's doing. He gave you your Arcus too, right? The special program we're using right now is called an app. Yep, crystal clear. Did you get taller again? Your birthday's coming up soon, right? Congratulations on graduating, Reen. From the sound of it, there were a few issues, but I guess everything's all right now. Yeah, I started earlier this month. I was hoping I'd be able to see you in person, along with Machias, of course. I can definitely see him going there, but it's like he's putting himself in a position to go up against his dad. I'm a little worried. Oh, you remembered? Well, it is a school. Toe is also an instructor, right? Anyone else I know working there?
velvet room. Ah, it seems we have a guest with an intriguing destiny. My name is Igor. I am delighted to make your acquaintance. This place exists between dream and reality, mind and matter. It is a room that only those who are bound by a contract may enter. It may be that such a fate awaits you in the near future. Now then, why don't you introduce yourself? I see. Now, let's take a look into your future, shall we? Do you believe in fortune-telling? Each reading is done with the same cards, yet the result is always different. Life itself follows the same principles, doesn't it? The tower in the upright position represents the immediate future. It seems a terrible catastrophe is imminent. The card indicating the future beyond that is... the moon in the upright position. This card represents hesitation and mystery. Very interesting indeed. It seems you will encounter a misfortune at your destination, and a great mystery will be imposed upon you. In the coming days, you will enter into a contract of some sort, after which you will return here. The coming year is a turning point in your destiny. If the mystery goes unsolved, your future may be forever lost. My duty is to provide assistance to our guests to ensure that does not happen. I have neglected to introduce my assistant to you. This is Margaret. She is a resident of this place, like myself.
My name is Margaret. I am here to accompany you through your journey.
We shall attend to the details another time. Until then, farewell.
Hey, over here. Well,
more handsome in person than in your photo. Welcome to Inaba. I'm Ryotaro Dojima. I'll be looking after you. Let's see, I'm your mother's younger brother, and that about sums it up. You probably don't remember, but we've met. I've changed your diapers before, you know? This here's my daughter. Come on, Nanako. Introduce yourself to your cousin.
Hello.
What are you so shy for? Ow! Well then, let's get going. My car's over there.
Hey. You dropped this. Whatever. All I did was pick it up.
What's wrong?
Hi, welcome to Mole.
Can you go to the bathroom by yourself?
Uh-huh.
It's in the back to your left. You know which way's left?
I know. Jeez.
Are you taking a trip?
No, we just went to pick him up. He just moved here from the big city.
A city, huh?
Fill up my car while you're at it. Regular's fine.
Right away, sir.
Good time as any for a smoke.
Are you in high school? Does it surprise a city boy to see how little there is out here? There's so little to do, I'm sure you'll get bored fast. You'll either be hanging out with your friends or doing part-time jobs. Speaking of which, we're actually looking for part-time help right now. Give it some thought, why don't you? We don't mind if you're a student. Oh, I should get back to work.
Are you okay? Did you get car sick? You don't look too good.
What's wrong? You okay? That's understandable. It must have been a long trip for you. Why not take a little walk? Get some fresh air. Just let me know when you're ready to go. All right, let's have a toast. So, your mom and dad are busy as always. They're working overseas, was it? I know it's only for a year, but getting stuck in a place like this because of your parents? Well, it's just me and Nanako here, so it'll be nice having someone like you around. So long as you're here, you're part of the family, so make yourself at home. Good. Well, anyway, let's eat. Oh, who's calling at this hour? Dojima speaking. Yeah, I see. So where is it? Uh-huh. All right, I'm on my way. Looks like I made the right choice to skip the booze. Sorry, but I gotta go take care of some business. Go ahead and eat without me. I don't know how late I'll be. Nanako, you help him out, okay? Nanako, it's raining out. What did you do with the laundry?
I already brought it in.
All right, well, I'm off.
For this week. Next, let's take a look at the hourly breakdown of tomorrow's weather. With storm clouds moving in from the west, expect rain throughout the day tomorrow in most areas.
Let's eat. Investigate stuff, like crime scenes. dad's a detective.
And now for the local news. City Council Secretary Taro Namatame is under fire for an alleged relationship with a female reporter. His wife, Enka ballad sensation Misuzu Hiragi, revealed to this station that she will likely pursue damages. In response, iTelevision has decided to cancel all of announcer Mayumi Yamano's televised appearances. Until allegations of an affair with Mr. Namatame are resolved, she'll remain off the air and out of the public eye.
This is boring.
At Tunis, every day is Customer Appreciation Day. Come see for yourself and get in touch with our products. Every day's great at your Tunis.
Every day's great at your Tunas. Aren't you going to eat? breakfast ready. Good morning. Okay. Let's eat. There was some kind of trouble. You won't be back. You're starting school today, right? My school's on the way, so let's go together.